So Tass, have you been as busy as, has the busyness slowed down? Let's go that route.
No.
Thank you, Tass. You're the worst interviewee, I think, on the planet.
No, man. Things are heating up. I mean, it's getting busier and busier, but that's a good thing. I always say I'd rather be busy than broke. That's me.
Yeah. Not everybody thinks that way, though, do they?
They absolutely do not.
So listen,
sometimes the busy is on the wrong thing.
Oh, I lost you. I don't have audio. Oh, there you go.
I'm here. Sometimes the busy is on the wrong things. Like we get busy getting ready to get busy, or we get busy doing, cleaning the school or doing those things. And those things are important, but we really got to be busy on the right things, because when we're busy on the wrong things, it can be very frustrating because we're not seeing our school grow. And there's reasons for that because of where our focus is.
We had a lot of talk about that this last week, haven't we?
We sure have.
Time management and efficiency. So,
sure.
So we have some guests today.
And they've been busy on the right things.
They have been busy on the right things. And let me just pull up, I just want to make sure that we're all good here. Okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, hello, Miss Geely. Good afternoon. Good morning for some. So anyway, we got Mr. and Miss Collier that's going to come on, and they are out of Utah. And it seems like people have been relating to some of the guests that have been on here and have been in their place. And I think it's always good when other martial arts school owners out there hear how people that may be or were in their position and what did they do to, improve their position. So we're going to hear their story. And guys, look, I'd love to get questions too. So please, as we go and as we talk and chat, ask questions in the chat box. So let's bring in Mr. and Mrs. Collier from Utah. There they are. Hello, guys.
Hello. How are you?
Fantastic. So is this nerve-wracking now that our 6 viewers are watching it? No, we usually get a pretty good following here, but I wanted to ask you guys to come on, and Tassoul and I have talked about, for years we've talked about, there's a lot of clients, there's a lot of people, and we just think that instead of just hearing us blab all the time, and maybe some people believe what we say, maybe some people don't, maybe some people can't relate because we've been doing this for 30 years and it seems like, oh, I don't know how I'll ever get there, I can't relate to that. But I think it's good because can you tell us first of all, tell me where you were at 6 years ago, 5 years ago, or whatever. When did you start your school? What style do you teach? Tell us a little bit about you guys.
So I actually started my school in my parents' basement as a 17-year-old kid. We had like a karate, like a workout room, and we just started teaching classes to neighbor kids, and just as a hobby, really, because we really enjoyed martial arts, my brother and I, and we ended up having like 30, 40 kids in the basement. It got to be where the city was telling us we couldn't have any more kids in the basement of our house because it was getting messy. And a location opened up when I was about 21, about 2,000 square feet. And we thought, holy cow, we have enough kids. We could afford the rent. We can do this. And we just started, and I did it kind of as a college job. And at first I never really thought of running a martial arts school as a full-time career. It was always just kind of a hobby. And you fast forward 3 or 4 years, and all of a sudden I had like 140, 150 kids, but I wasn't making any money. We were paying all the bills. It paid for my cell phone, insurance, stuff like that. But I didn't know anything about running a martial arts school. And as time went on, we got a ton of students because we were, I think, doing a pretty good job of teaching classes and teaching. Karate was a style we teach. And I get a job. I was working 40 hours. I was still going to school, trying to manage the studio, and we got married, and it just was this like 110 hour a week kind of disaster because I was working 40 hours. I was going to school like 20, trying to run the karate school 30 or 40 hours. And we got to a point where honestly, Heidi kind of said, you either have to make the karate school something, or we got to just quit and shut it down. And it was a decision we were wrestling with because, you know, I made pretty good money as an engineer at that point. And then 2015 hit, and I worked in the oil industry doing manufacturing engineering. And the price of oil went from $100 a barrel to like $5 a barrel overnight, and destroyed the whole industry I was in. And that decision was kind of made for us. We went, you know, maybe we don't want to do the engineering thing anymore. And that happened to be the same year that like a month later, we were in the Super Show. And that's when I met and spoke with you, Mr. Metzger. And
what year was that?
2015, summer of 2015. So it's been 7 years.
Okay.
Our karate school was grossing what, maybe 14 or 15,000 a month,
if that.
And it was just, you know, we thought, oh, we need more students. We need more students, but
then you need more staff.
Yeah, we needed more staff, and so the profit didn't increase with more students. It just really kept upping our expenses, and we obviously just weren't running it right. We didn't know about running a martial arts school, and so. And
I kept saying, I wish there was someone that I could just pick their brain and ask them what to do. And I said that for years before we found you guys.
Yeah, because we'd been to the Super Show, and you know, we'd heard all the talks and discussions about you can run a successful school with 100 students and make a good living. I'm sure it was probably one of the discussions that you guys gave even. And so I guess the real pivotal moment was finding a mentor that understood our industry. And within 3 months, we went from making nothing, having just been laid off from my main employment.
Well, hold on. Before you even go there, hold on. Bring this up. Miss Collier, you wrote something explaining the whole story, I remember. And I don't know why you wrote it, or maybe it was from having the year last year. I don't know why, but share that. What did you write? Where were you exactly mentally, and where were you at that time?
Basically, we were, well, he got laid off, and so then we had to go get on-state assistance because I was pregnant with our second child, and which is something I never wanted to ever have to do. We're pretty independent people, and I hated that, and so Caleb called me from the Super Show because I was 9 months pregnant, and so I couldn't go with him. And he said, hey, I'm going to hire this guy to help us with our business. And I'm like, you're crazy. You can't even pay us a paycheck.
So hold on. So at that point, you weren't even really taking a paycheck?
No, we didn't take home any paychecks. It only covered like insurance stuff, like the
insurance,
basics.
our phone, and some gas, and meals. We'd eat out sometimes. Like,
and how many students did you have at that time when you were grossing 14, 15 grand?
About 175.
You think so?
Yeah.
It was like 150. Well, that's probably true. 175. We just,
we needed some guidance.
All right. So you were on state assistance, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we filed for unemployment, and I mean,
Medicaid, and it was awful.
Lovely.
Now, were you even thinking, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep the school going at any point, or?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, what are you going to do? Are you going to sell the karate school? Because you can't work another job and try and run the karate school at the same time and make a good living. It's just not going to work. You have to pick one or the other.
It just wasn't working out. I mean, we never saw each other except for at the karate school. So, you know, we just had almost no relationship at that point. It was, I don't know, it was ugly. So that Super Show saved us. But
hold up, Mr. Collier, but hold on. So Mrs. Collier, you called and said, hey, I'm going to hire this guy, or I'm going to, you know, hire them. And Mrs. Collier is saying, are you crazy? How are you going to do this? How are we going to afford that? What were you thinking, and how did you think you were going to afford it?
Well, you and I had talked, and honestly, I think I'd come to a sort of like a mass intro you guys did, where it was just an explanation of like the A, B, C, and D program options and what MAIA could do for us. And we had sat through like a 2-hour class with you guys, and what you said just made sense. You know, we weren't charging the right way. Our class schedule wasn't set up the right way. And I guess I saw kind of the vision of what you guys were able to do for other school owners. And, you know, I just kind of did the math. Hey, we have, 170 students. If we were doing it this way, we would be able to make a pretty good living, and it would honestly replace our income really quickly.
So you then tell her, I just have this vision and I believe this guy who just sold me?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. The thing she likes least about me is when I want to do something, I just go and do it. We attack things maybe a little faster sometimes than we even should, but I don't like to hyper analyze stuff. I don't think it's healthy.
Okay. So you're at the Super Show, you're on state assistance, you're on unemployment, you're on the verge of maybe we're going to close the school. You call Mrs. Collier, who was pregnant at the time, and say, hey, I'm going to hire this guy because I think he can help. And so what happened then in the next 90 days?
So within 90 days, so you made me a promise. You said it's going to be $1,000 a month, I think at the time. And I can help you earn that $12,000 back in the next 90 days.
And 12,000 being $1,000 a month for a year.
Yeah, $1,000 a month for 12 months. You said I can help you earn the whole year's worth of consulting back in the next 90 days. And I actually think by the end of 60, we had earned another $12,000 and have been able to pay ourselves a paycheck ever since. So it didn't take years it just took 4 or 5 really simple but profound changes to the way we ran our business to make a huge difference.
I can't believe you fell for that line.
I know. Hey, it works.
I can't believe it takes Metzger 90 days to get it done.
Yeah, Mass can do it in 30.
That's right.
There we go.
All right. So, okay, so when you came to the Super Show, you were around 14, 15 grand a month?
Yep.
Okay. With 170 students, like, first of all, I always chuckle at this because, like, you're one of those, like, and we can help everybody. We've had people with 3 students in gymnasium have a commercial school with 100 students plus in a year, right? But you're in that sweet spot, which is like we can have this just like profound impact.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's profound whether you have 50 students or you have 150 or 170. But it's like when you invest $1,000 and you get $100 in return, or you invest 100,000 and get 10,000. The returns are the same return, but they seem bigger, right? And you had the base of the infrastructure to be able to really make a difference fast in your school. And what I love about this, because you're pulling on my heartstrings a little bit, because you guys were acting from a place of really desperation. I mean, there was inspiration, I think, that maybe came from Metzger about how you could fix things. But that's the exact place that I was in my life when I made the decision. And I don't ever want anyone to have to make a decision when they're at their lowest point. And sometimes it takes us to get to that point to make those decisions. But then they, like in your case, I mean, we'll talk more about this, but those decisions that we make in that split second become life-changing and literally change the trajectory of our life forever.
So do you remember what you grossed that year, the year before the Super Show, or no?
Yeah, it was like 178 or something like that, 182, somewhere in there.
All right, so you grossed around 180 grand for the year. That was the gross.
Yeah.
And just for everybody watching, because not everybody has the focus, right? So people will jump in, jump out. Let's fill in the blanks this way, but would you mind sharing what you grossed last year?
Yeah, so we did 1.25 million.
So from 180 grand to 1.25 million in 7 years.
Yeah.
And here's the thing everybody wonders. Did you sell your soul to the devil?
No. Honestly, I would say our classes are better. Our kids progress better. They're better martial artists. The life skills we teach are are more well-rounded. They get, I don't know, the experience overall is better in every way for our students.
And for our staff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure.
And the thing is I put a post up, Tass, I don't know if you saw this, but we put a post up that said, for the who wants to grow your business, basically something like this, who wants to grow your business and why? Like, why do you want to grow it, right? I don't know if you guys saw that post that was out there. And you see all the answers. If you go and look at the post, you'll see all these things. So Mr. and Mrs. Collier, where the frustration comes in, and Tassoul and I'm just going to be transparent with everybody watching. The frustration comes in because I've been consulting and trying to help schools for basically 20 years, right? And I just told Tass this a half an hour ago. I've always been so conscious on not to sell, like in these forms. Now, if you come to a seminar or something, we'll try to sell a program and we'll tell you. But at the end of the day, again, you're just another person that is living proof that we can help these school owners. And I told Tass, I'm done being like trying not to try to sell something, because like you said, you came there, you called it a mass intro in Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys called it, but
a good sales job. No. Kidding. My point is what do you do, and what would you say to school owners that say, okay, it's that Mets task guy again, they're just trying to sell. They're just trying to sell, because most people don't want to take the leap of faith, or they're skeptical, or they think that we're just trying to sell them so we can make money off of them. That's what a lot of people think. And it's frustrating because you guys know that we can help people. We can help the school owners. Well, everybody that commented that I want to grow my business, and it's because I saw people say, I want to live in the mountains. I want to provide for my staff. I want to vacation more. I want to, whatever it is. I just want to put in there, well, guys, call me. I can make that happen. Just call me. We can do it. But what would you say to these school owners understanding the skepticism?
Well, I think sometimes as martial arts instructors, we're used to being the one who, kind of like knows everything in our schools. And for me, I didn't know anything about running a martial arts school. Just because I knew how to teach martial arts or knew how to do martial arts does not mean I understand that industry and how to run that business successfully. And you've said it a dozen times, it's not just that you run your business, but you get to talk to hundreds and hundreds of school owners and see what all of these people do well. And you get to take all of those awesome ideas and incorporate them into just a better business plan. And what would I say to them? Maybe check your ego a little bit and just be open-minded. I mean, we're all supposed to be students first, if we're going to be good martial artists. And I think that doubly applies to the business, because, it's not like we all have business degrees and understand how to, run a successful company. I think learning is something we should always be open to. And I don't know. I come to some of the seminars, I come to the Super Show, and I hear people, just sit in the back going, oh, that's not going to work for us, or that's not, try it,
Well, let me ask this. You said you jumped, but Mrs. Collier, you said, are you crazy? What were you thinking when he said, well, this is what we did? And what would you say to the school owners? What were you thinking? Because if you were the one at the Super Show and he was home, you may not have joined, right?
Possibly. I'm not sure. I was excited. I was nervous, but he was like, look, he's promised that we will make back everything.
That's what I used to sell it. Sorry.
He promised me, but he promised.
And at that point, I was like, well, what do we have to lose at this point? Like, we don't have, where are we supposed to go from here? So we might as well jump in. And if it doesn't work, we'll just go from there.
Okay. So I think these stories can help Tass. Do you have questions as far as you were in the same boat? I mean, this story has to resonate with people, right?
And I think, I was just making some notes on some things that they were saying, but you know, Mr. Collier, you just said one of the things that Mrs. Collier sometimes doesn't like is that you dive in and you just go after it, right?
But in her defense, she is super supportive. She's awesome.
She doesn't mind when you dive in and do the house stuff that you've been doing all those projects, right? But I think about, you know, I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, well, what's the common denominator for people that were where they were and where they are now? And I think, you know, the things that Met said that resonate with me is I was in a place of desperation. I was in a place where I just trusted him and said, all right, this is my last ditch effort. I'm just going to do whatever he tells me to do. And I dove in and I just did it. You said you shouldn't really overanalyze, I think is what you said. Yeah. You're not the kind of guy that really likes to overanalyze because you can get caught up in that, right? I didn't overanalyze. I just went out and I executed. And at the end of the day, you're in Vegas. Your wife's at home about ready to deliver your child. You have no idea how you're going to feed your kid or put diapers on because you don't have money. But you pulled the trigger to make a decision that you thought was going to impact your life for the better. And I think that's the other part is it's all about pulling triggers as well. And so those are like some of the common denominators of success, because sometimes people will watch this and they'll say, well, they're different. Well, they're not different. No. You're not different. Where you may be different is you're willing to dive in. You're willing to check the ego. You're willing to always learn. You're willing to execute. You're willing to pull triggers where some people can have all the same information, but not do any of those things and not have that level of success. But they have all the information at their fingertips. And we see that happen. And that's part of the frustration that when Metzger talks, that's part of the frustration that we have, because at the end of the day, I don't know if you stroked a check to Metzger for a bunch of money this last year because you guys did so much better, but I don't think that's the case, right?
I'm sure he would have appreciated that.
Right? Whether you know, do phenomenal or you close your business, right? And I don't know if we've closed any one of the businesses, but whether you do phenomenal or not, we don't get any extra for that. So it's not our vested interest is we love these stories, and this is where this is what's fun for us. So I just think people, you know, regardless of where you're at, and there's lots of different stories and lots of different people that you may resonate with. But Colliers, you're teaching out of a basement, and it's just, I mean, and then you go to your martial arts school and you're not, you know, you're bringing in some gross revenue. Your student values sub $100, right? Yeah. And all these things are happening, and then you transform. And if people really look, I mean, basically 60 months, 72 months. I mean, that's not a long time to go from where you were to where you are today. And I always said, I wish I would have found MAIA when I was 21 or 20 when I opened my own school, because I'd be retired. But or either that, or I would just be doing it, you know, because I just want to keep giving back and I love to do it, right? Because the difference that it made for us was unbelievable in our school. So yeah, some very, very, these are qualities. You guys have the success because you have the qualities of successful people, and you're willing to just go execute and implement. So congratulations. I love hearing the stories, man. I think it's great.
So just some questions real quick. So you guys are 100% karate?
I studied Taekwondo for like 3 years and then switched to a school that ended up being closer to my home as a teenager that taught karate. So I have backgrounds in both. What we do is mainly karate. I have instructors now that train in jiu-jitsu, study Krav Maga. I don't know. We incorporate a mix of stuff, but we give them black belts in karate. Yeah. Okay.
And also, so then they said, well, one location, single location. So when you started, you had one location.
Yes. Do you want me to just go for that one?
Go ahead. Talk about it.
So I assume that was they were wondering if I made that much money in one location. And we opened a second location in March of 2021. So March of last year. Our first location did like $960,000 last year. And our new location.
So your one location did like 960,000.
Yeah.
Okay. You opened a new location in March.
And by the end of the year, they were at like 231 students, and they made 315 last year, 315.
The exact numbers.
So it grew like crazy. It just exploded. But the bulk of the revenue was made by the first school.
And what are we doing right now?
That second location is clear up to 260 students. 250 students, and we just signed a lease for a third location. So we're going for it.
We're crazy.
Well, and by the way, there's a right way and a wrong way on when to open a second location. I don't remember exactly, but did I put the brakes on that a little bit when you were first looking?
You did.
Yeah,
no, not that. He never does that.
About 10 times. You told me, no, you're not ready. No, you're not ready. So, and we weren't ready.
I remember
honestly.
going to one of the seminars and getting all excited. I'm like, okay, we're ready. And you looked at me and you said, nope. And I was like, oh, dang it.
Yeah, no, we weren't. We didn't have enough staff. We weren't prepared. But it's been awesome now. And honestly, I think that's why we grow so well is we have amazing staff members. It's not like we go and do all of this. Hiring people and taking care of them is probably the most important thing that we do.
But that's the thing. Think about that, right? Because as martial arts instructors, owners, whatever, especially if we're struggling, our main focus is, I want to help my students. I want to impact more students. I want to help the community, right? I believe in what I do. And now look, you're helping so many more students, but also helping those students that have now become instructors potentially.
Yeah.
And you're doing more than just teach those people life skills. You're providing them a true career.
Yeah, that for me now as a business owner is probably the most exciting part, is seeing like my first student ever in the basement of my parents' house is now the head instructor of my first location. And he just bought his first house. He has two beautiful children. It's amazing to see him now as a 27-year-old being able to accomplish his life goals. That's my favorite part, honestly.
By the way,
more than you were making when you owned the school.
I was going to say,
and making more money than I did for the first 10 years of running the business. So.
That's what I was just going to say, Tass. You know, like everybody puts these titles or importance to titles, and it's not about that. It doesn't matter. We're all in the same boat, right? I mean, we all need each other, and all it means is you're the one who took a leap of faith, took a big risk to everything, right? By doing this. And now the only way we know how to teach people is, and you know this, is we got to take care of our people. First and foremost, we got to take care of our people, and we got to make sure that the quality of our product or service is at 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I'm maybe too picky about things, bathrooms being clean and how it smells in the school and stuff. I annoy my instructors, but just that quality is super important.
So a question for any of us here: how do you find quality staff who have administrative clerical skills to help run or grow the business, not just teach class?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
And you guys can answer that, but my look, like for me, that's the easy part. The other part of it is find people with the martial arts skills to be able to be instructors. Those are harder people to find.
Yes.
But go ahead, you guys. I mean, find them.
I think we've been really lucky. I think our program has just happened to attract some of our awesome parents, and our office manager is one of our black belts, but she's a mom. She's
been with us for 10 years.
Been with us for about 10 years, and she helps us manage, the office stuff. And we just started small because it was a part-time job at first, and she's been growing, and now she's the director of operations for our school. She does all the ordering, administrative stuff. I don't know. I think that's a culture thing, isn't it? Attracting the right people, making it a fun, exciting, enjoyable environment to be in.
Can you see this? This is the Elite Seminar schedule of speakers that's coming up in 2 weeks. And where my finger is, talent versus culture. What's more valuable? That's going to be a whole topic I'm going to be speaking on, and you said it. It's culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so important. So the way you do that is you got to give constant training and provide the tools. I mean, that's the answer. I mean, it's not about finding them. It's about finding the right person and then building them and molding them. and training them and providing the right tools. So, you guys, again, for those of you who just jumped on, you were on state assistance, you were unemployed, you were collecting unemployment, you got laid off, you decided to jump into MAIA Elite. Back then when you joined, there was no such thing as any other MAIA foundations or MAIA growth. It was like, and you said it, I'm just going to say it, but it was $1,000 a month. It wasn't like, I mean, Mr. Collier, as much as you wanted to jump and you said, hey, I trust this guy, promised me he's going to change our lives. Were you scared?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, we went from making $70,000 a year to making like $12,000 a year, which was just a little bit the karate school could pay us. And we that $12,000 is what we paid to you and to MAIA. And I mean, we only went 2 months before we could take a nice paycheck again. So I don't know. I could say it 1,000 times, but if someone's on the fence about this, geez, having a mentor, someone who has been doing this and understands how to make money here and make your business better. It's not just about the money. Our classes are better. Our students are better black belts. You know, they're happier. I don't know.
So, Mrs. Collier, what were you going to say?
I honestly, like, I always say I don't have a testimony of college, and because I don't think that college really helped me, but I feel like this is my education. Like, I am putting money into my education with you guys. And so instead of going and getting my education at a university for business, this is more specific to what I need and what we need to grow our business and our family.
Right. And how much in school loans do you have with us?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's so nice to say we're debt free.
Right. Well, Tass, you said it. I want to bring it up because of what tying all this in together for anybody here watching. Mr. Collier said he was scared. We already know Mrs. Collier said, are you crazy? We're not even paying ourselves. Why would you commit to this? And he also said he was scared, but he sometimes he doesn't like to analyze. He jumps and he just goes and he takes action. And Tass, you say it all the time. You got to be an action taker, right? I mean, and if it doesn't work for somebody, it means we know today because of data, it's because they didn't take action. I mean, we know that. I mean, it's been too consistent. And Tass, where are you at today with consulting? Why don't you share what you tell people when they reach out and say, okay, I want to get consulting?
Yeah, I'll give you the G version of it. But yeah, listen, I mean, the conversation's pretty candid. I mean, I find out where they're at. I find out where they want to go, kind of get a feel for how they're going to be as a client. Because I'll be honest with you, right now, I have plenty of clients. My life is busy, but I want to be busy in the right way. Just like we talked about in the beginning of this call, I don't want my busy being spent on things that aren't productive. And when I have a client that's not going to be productive, I don't want the client. So I'll just say it. I just tell people, if you're an ass dragger, I'm not your guy. Because there's the biggest compliment that you can give the consultant, and by the way, in turn help yourself, is by being an action taker and executing. And that's how you're going to win in this game. Because I'm going to get frustrated because I know what you can accomplish because you haven't been down that road before. I have. And I've seen the success of others. And it's not me saying that, of course, that I'm better and I know all the stuff. It's just I happen to know the systems. I'm just the conduit to deliver it. But when the person doesn't want to receive it and then go take action, it's just not someone I want to work with because it's like a student sometimes in your school, right? Sometimes the students in your school that can be the biggest challenge to you are sometimes, well, this is a bad example. They're sometimes the lowest paying students. I'm not saying that's everybody, right? But sometimes what happens is, if not money-wise, but if you have someone that doesn't have the right mindset, or they don't have an open mind. They think they're willing to move forward, but they question everything with answers to, and the answers make perfect sense. But then you get up, and what Mr. Collier said, you get caught up in the analyzing things, and you just don't take action. Yeah. There's frustration on everyone's part. And so I personally today like to deal with people that want to roll up their sleeves, get busy, dig in, and let's execute. I want to find more people like what I did, like what you guys did, right? July Super Show, I came back at everything implemented by September, and we did an extra $120,000 in the next 12 months. And the next year was another $140,000 on top of that. I mean, we grew by well over 6 figures year after year after year, and it didn't come from being a information junkie and going to all the different seminars and trying to pick and pull what I like or what fit my personality. It was, here's what I need to do. And Tony Robbins says it. You're going to do something either for pain or pleasure. And unfortunately, most of us will do more to avoid pain than we will to seek pleasure. And which is why you guys did what you did, which is what I did. But for a lot of us watching, you may not be in a painful situation, but I would encourage you to find what that pain is, because the pain may be you're in a full-time job and your school's doing okay. You're like, I'm fine. Well, if you really want to get, not that you can't do both, but if you really want to get out of your full-time job and get to your martial arts school, then find what that pain is and push the button hard so it causes you to take action, get yourself to the next level. Because too many of us we're just getting by. Sometimes we feast, sometimes we famine, and we do this. It's like, yeah, it's okay, and we're fine, and we're just living this okay life. And at the end of the day, we're all martial artists, but this is a conversation about the business side of things. And when you generate revenue, you have more options, not just more options for you, but for staff, for the looks of your school, the mats you buy, and what schools, the locations you're in. All of those things start opening up. So, I mean, that's the long answer, but yes, I like working with clients, and I just won't work with a client if I don't think they're going to be a good fit and take action, which I think a lot of us do in the martial arts school. I mean, we're not going to work with someone if we think they're going to be, just a really, really difficult to work with, right? We're just going to pass on and move. Now, some of us will do that if we're desperate for students, right? Because we're like, we just need somebody on the floor. That's just not the place that we're at. We're in the business of changing lives, but that takes two. It takes two people. It takes one to get the information. It takes the other one to execute the information. And that's where these success stories come from. That's what's so much fun.
Hey, let me ask you, have you guys ever, prior to MAIA, have you ever done any other consulting with anyone else?
We looked at it at a couple of their super shows. No,
you don't have to mention names. I'm just, so have you ever done any?
Yeah. I
You did?
Looked at some other people. Didn't love it. So
well, listen, you didn't know MAIA from Adam, right?
No.
What was it that made you jump and trust MAIA, let's say, or me, if you talk to me, as opposed to anyone else? Because that's the other thing. All these people watching, they're being inundated with, and by the way, I think there's good consultants out there, but why MAIA? Go ahead, Mrs. Collier, you had a thought?
Yeah.
So I remember him calling me and saying, okay, you have to, I just went to this really cool seminar, and this Mr. Metzger guy, he just went through all these details of how you charge for programs and the business systems behind it. And it just makes sense to me. All of it just lines up. And I really think that we could implement these things and go for it.
I guess I'd listen to some of these other people, and instead of telling me the specifics of how, it was this vague, I'll send you this whole pile of stuff and you're gonna sift through it. And that's not how it worked with you guys. You gave me a one-on-one phone call where you discussed my needs, my concerns, my specific situation, and you tailored the systems you knew worked to my situation. Where the other ones, it was, every week you're gonna get an email and here's this spreadsheet and here's this training video, and that's all fine, but it wasn't about me. I felt like I was a number, I guess. I was just another customer, another person paying them $500 a month or whatever. So I think it's different in MAIA, and I also own a little tiny construction company, and we've looked for a mentor, but it's the same thing. You'll get on the email list and you can get on the, the Facebook Live videos, and that was all great, but there's no interpersonal interaction. And that's the difference for me with the MAIA Elite stuff is, you call us every other week and you ask us our numbers and you ask us how everyone's doing. You know our name, and you're able to specifically answer the questions that we need help with. rather than it just being just start doing this thing, go.
Right. Well, and I think, Tass, you've been with a lot of other consultants before you became a consultant. And I think that was your experience with some of the people you were with, right? It was just generalized, and it was like quickly, like.
Yeah, 100%. And that's exactly the difference. And when I saw, and actually, let me just go back. But yeah, the answer is yes. But I remember when I first started consulting, gosh, I think it's been maybe 10 years ago now, something like that. And Metzger would sit in the back, like watching and listening. Well, he maybe wasn't listening, but he was watching and listening. He's like, Tass, you got to get right to the point. Like, you got to give them bullet points to take away that they can go execute and implement in their school. And I'll never forget when he told me that. I'm like, okay, there was too much story time and not enough getting to the meat. Let's go, what can we do? And I see a lot of hyperbole. I see a lot of ideas and theories. I see a lot of one-size-fits-all consulting where, like you're saying, go do these things, and that's what you need to do. But that's not what everybody needs in their school right now. Some people need to work on the retention. Some people need to work on their upgrade program. Some people need to work on enrollments. There's all different things. And the reason why we can be so successful and clients can be so successful is because we immediately can identify where those things are in your school, attack those big holes first, get those plugged, and then move forward, as opposed to just giving generalized consulting that you're going to get better. You'll do things better, but you're not going to maximize your success if we're not hitting those individual needs of the school. So 100% agreement. And your transparency, by the way. I mean, I'm going to say it. He'll probably not like me saying this, but I remember someone asking him if they could have his license agreement for CMA. And I watched Metzger go, yeah, here you go. Just don't copy it word for word. Like, who does that? Like, who does that? And so the transparency and the honesty and we're playing with all the cards on the table. We're not going to give you this and hide this, and everything is out. The details are there. All the information is there. The specifics. I think that was the big attraction to me way back when I was on as a client. I'm like, dang, this guy's just brutally honest, and like, he's willing to give me whatever, and he's willing to help me, and I haven't even paid the guy yet, and he's giving me specific things that we need to do. That was, I think, the big attraction for me too.
Key word there is brutally. Yeah.
And it's just sometimes, I
mean, I don't have time, right? So it's just pretty straightforward. Some people appreciate it, some people don't. But my mission and our mission as MAIA, all the consultants, our mission is simple: make school owners as successful and as professional as they possibly can be for not only them and their communities, but for their staff and their people. Period. That's it. And I'm going to do that as quickly and as efficiently and as directly as I possibly can. And for those of you watching this, right, you may say, well, what is this? One big infomercial for MAIA Elite? Yeah, let me just be brutally honest. Yes, it is. Because this is the year, and I said it earlier. I know what we can do for you, for school owners. I know what we can do. And now I'm putting it out there, and I'm bringing you guys on. I'm bringing stories on because everybody watching this has been where you were, or they are currently where you were, and they've been there for years and years and years. Maybe not, by the way, even lower than where you are, but at the end of the day, they were struggling. They were getting by. They were doing good. They were doing okay, but they're not getting any further, right? And I always tell people it's not always about you. Because what if 3 of your black belts, if you're good at teaching martial arts, you should have a plethora of black belts. What if 3 black belts came to you right now and said, I want to make this my career. I don't want to be an engineer. I don't want to be a teacher. I want to do martial arts for a living. Can you hire me? I'd love to work for you and be here. 3 of them. And you need to pay them full-time salaries. Can you do it? And the answer for the majority of people is, I wouldn't be able to hire them. Well, that stinks. That stinks. And by the way, you two, the reason why we're opening school number 3 is because we have more people that we need to give opportunities to.
That's it. Yeah, that's the reason.
And not everybody can do it, because if I have a school with 120 students or less, or 150 or less, or 170 or less, grossing 15,000 and not even be able to take a paycheck and collect unemployment to survive, if they came up to you, you couldn't say, well, honey, you know what? Let's open a second school. Like you would have been bankrupt already.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's why earlier you said, yes, I put on the brakes and with TAS, I put on the brakes when what happens is you guys, not you guys, but people in general, you get a taste of success. You think you got it all figured out and you're like, you know what? Let's open a second school. Not yet. We're going to do this right. We're going to make sure we have the systems, the bench strength. We're going to do it the right way. And you guys are doing it the right way. And that's what we teach as martial artists, right? Patience.
Yes.
So sometimes it's my job to just reel things in a little bit and make sure we do it the right way. And not everybody listens, right? And so this is the way you'll provide better opportunities and impact more students. So you started at 100. So was your max students before MAIA? Was your max amount of students like 170, 175?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
our highest was like 178.
Okay, and how what do you have now?
710 between the two schools, 712,
Oh, I don't.
something like that. We just hit over 700.
So my point is when people say, well, I want to make, it's not about money, I want to make a bigger impact in the community. They go hand in hand. I mean, it just goes hand in hand. Now you're impacting over 700 people as opposed to 170 people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And better quality, as you said.
Yeah.
Lots.
And you've also, you know, as you guys know, you're getting a lot of training on how to make instructors better on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we are.
So what's the most amount of people you brought to an elite seminar?
We'll be in Orlando in February with 11 or 12 of us. So there will be 11 of us next month, or this month, actually.
There you go, because you're bringing instructors, you're bringing program directors, because we want to up the game for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not just about the owners, right? And
No.
I think, Ms. Facro here said they'll even talk directly to staff members.
That's our awesome director of operations.
Not just I mean, at the end of the day, again, our mission, we got to make everybody in the industry and in our MAIA family or the CMA family or whatever family we're in, our mission is simple. We're going to make ourselves as successful as possible. And if you're part of that, it doesn't matter if you're an owner, a program director, an instructor, you're in the boat with us. And that's what we want to do. So thank you for joining us on the infomercial.
No problem.
But no, you got to understand.
If you sign up for Elite now, we'll include the slice of the dice.
New jammy to wash your school mirrors.
Just wait, there's more.
You know, listen, guys, it's very inspirational. I mean, even for me, it's so inspirational to hear the stories and hear your story and where you were and be reminded to see your success. And as Tassoul said it, we didn't sign you up for MAIA and say, hey, by the way, when we start making you more, it'll be 10% of all the extra you make. I mean, I couldn't be, more happy. I mean, it is what it is. And I think, with our MAIA team, has the service gone down since you've made 1.25 million, or are we there for you whenever you need it?
It's been, you were there. I mean, we call you for the most random things, to look at a lease, to talk with our instructors about upgrades. We've had some of your staff up to Utah. You're always there. So that's what I appreciate the most.
I'm saying that just so anybody that's here that may be skeptical about where MAIA's heart is, it's really to do everything we possibly can to our best ability, be available. You're just one. There's, a bunch, right?
Yes.
But we try to make ourselves available for everybody as best we can. And, we have a little bit of a team that's there. And so, because we get joy out of seeing this success, and that's what I would want to convey to anybody who's on the fence or wants to grow. So any last thoughts, Tassoul?
I love doing these, because when you work with clients for a long period of time, right? Even a short period of time, but over time, you know this level of success but sometimes just to sit back and tell the story and go back to where you were to where you are today, it's just fun to kind of go back and reminisce a little bit, right? And it's like when you have your children, you're with your kids all day, and all day every day, and you don't really see how much they grow, and they're growing the whole time, and we know that. But if we see a picture of them, like, oh my gosh, here's where they were and here's where they are now, it's just always fun to look back at those things. Now, sometimes it's not fun to look back if you're not a client, as an example, and you're in the same place today as you were 5 years ago. For you, your own reflection, your own story, and Met said that, it's not fun to look back. It's always fun to look back when you've grown and you're more successful and you're still continuing to grow. It makes it fun. So love doing the interviews, love the success. Congratulations to you guys on the hard work, because at the end of the day, the information is useless if it's not put into action, and you guys are the action takers, and you guys are the ones on the front lines doing the work and making it happen. And I said it before, there's no bigger compliment than you can give to us or consultants, whatever, than actually doing the work. And so congratulations, and very, very proud of you guys. It's awesome.
Thank you.
The last thing I'll ask, because some people on here, right, that watch the recording, might think, well, you know what? Okay, so everybody has their 3 or 4 like people that have had unbelievable success. What would you say of the elite group as far as the people in the elite program?
So we've been there for about 7 years, and I think everyone in that group has become more successful. Everyone who's stuck with it, everyone we see there is improving, has doubled student counts or opened another location, or found the instructors they needed, been able to take a step back from their business. I don't know of anyone in that group that isn't doing better.
I haven't heard
because
any
of it.
Bad at all.
Unless there's somebody that just came on. But what do I always ask, especially in the February event or on the Zoom meetings, what do I ask? Who had a record year last year, right? Yeah. And what do we see?
Tons of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Record. So what I want to do is bring people like you on the entire year. You know what I mean? Every other week, maybe a different story, somebody that might resonate with somebody else. Yeah. Because MAIA gave us a mission. MAIA, by the way, Century Martial Arts is the parent company of MAIA. And literally they said to me, going forward, we see what you guys are doing with the schools. How do we make a bigger impact? Well, be more blatant about what we do, and maybe we can make a bigger impact and get more people. We were kind of, in a way, we were the best kept secret, I think, maybe in the martial arts industry. I mean, we had ads out there and stuff, but we were never like this, right? Where we were really trying to sell people on a program, but we're doing it because we know what we can do, and maybe more people will jump. But, so now that's our mission. We got to impact more people. So
I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to take the same 3 clients and keep putting them on, hoping that nobody notices.
Sunglasses and a hat, Miss Collier will put the hair up and change, and we'll call them, Mr. and Mrs. Sanchez next.
There we go.
We'll hear their Anyway, guys, thanks so much for being on. Really great, inspirational. Thanks again, and as always, if you need anything, we're here.
Thank you.
Congrats, guys. Thank you, guys.